Today I'm going to show you how you can use a very simple setup to capture generic B-roll footage and then turn it into something special. Hi everyone and welcome to Pal the Tech and happy Friday. Last week I volunteered to be the photographer at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta to celebrate fundraising at the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorders Center. To cover the event I brought two lenses with me. The first was the 16 to 55 millimeter zoom. I also brought the 50 to 140 millimeter zoom so that I could be positioned more at a distance and capture some of those more creative angles. This was an informal shoot that I was doing for free, and I didn't want to carry around a lot of gear with me. I brought no lights, no tripods, no reflectors, no extra batteries, no extra SD cards, nothing. Nothing. This was the most minimal setup I've gone with in a long time. I put the camera in classic chrome film simulation and I was ready to go. But then I began having thoughts like, would it be worth shooting video B-roll at this event as well? I knew that I didn't want to keep flipping over to video mode on the X-T4 because, at least for me, it interrupts my photography workflow. Also, when you're in the zone of composing still images, it's kind of hard, at least for me, to suddenly shift into the different mindset of now having to capture video footage. So I was just about to leave for the event when I thought, wait a second, why don't I just attach a GoPro to the top of the camera, turn it on, and just forget about it the entire time I'm shooting? I would use this GoPro right here and attach it to the top of the camera's hot shoe mount with this little Andesini adapter, and then just have it on and running the entire time. Now, the event was about 30 to 45 minutes of shooting, and things were moving fast, but I was fairly happy with some of the shots that I was able to get. And meanwhile, the entire time, my GoPro was on top of the camera recording one big video file. And while I was shooting, I hardly even noticed that it was there. Now, once the event ended and I got back to the studio, I did my usual photo culling like I always do, but then I took a look at the video footage captured by this GoPro. Remember that none of the footage was set up, lit, storyboarded, or had any planning involved whatsoever. Just an attached camera that happened to be turned on and running. And so I thought, what if I took this generic B-roll footage, perform a bit of creative editing, add some music, and see what I got? Now, as soon as I brought the footage into the editor, I knew I had to have Star Wars music in the background. I chose 5 separate segments of music from Star Wars, and I cut them together into a final 1 minute and 45 second track. And then I started going through the video footage and pulling out the best moments. In going through the footage, I am always looking for motion, and motion. Want a photo moment?
Yeah.
All right.
Ready?
Hold on. Okay. Perfect. I knew that I had to cut that with the appropriate beat of the music. Likewise, when I noticed times where I was turning around with the camera, almost a whip pan motion, that I needed to add that motion in and cut it to a point in the music track that would make it work. And this became a challenge because remember, I only had one camera, one angle, one focal length. Now there was a moment where a dog, Dory, posed with the entire group. Dory is a therapy dog and is much loved at the hospital by the staff and the children. I had to get Dory in there as sort of a main plot point of the video, but just another static shot would have been so boring. So I cut to a zoom in, then cut to an even more zoom in, then cut back. This gave the illusion of having multiple cameras. Not great, but it was all I had to work with, and it's better than nothing. And lastly, because I only had footage that was shot at 24 frames per second for this B-roll, I had problems creating slow motion shots to go with the slower parts of the music. I therefore used a little trick in Final Cut Pro called optical flow, which helps to smooth out the footage and fill in those missing frames. Now, while the GoPro is very good with stabilization, I added additional digital stabilization to certain shots as well. If you would like to learn more about how to edit like this and would like me to do a whole series on it, let me know. The single most important aspect of turning B-roll into A-roll is to have a story. By using separate musical pieces, I was able to have a beginning, middle, and an end of sorts. Now, if you plan on doing this yourself, Remember, first, shoot at 60 frames per second. That's what I should have done. It gives you so many more options later on in editing to slow down your footage, and it will make your editing process go a lot faster. Secondly, if you have a longer lens on your camera, right, and you have a wide angle, you're gonna see the lens in your shot as you're shooting. You don't want to have the lens appear in your shot at all, so use a narrower focal length. On the GoPro, that is called linear. Set it to linear. Third, make sure you're using the correct shutter speed, which should be double your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 60 frames per second, you want to use a shutter speed that's 1/120th of a second. And because of that, if you're outdoors in bright sunlight, you may need to use an ND filter as well. Also, I would recommend turning off any blinking lights or front-facing LCD screens. You don't want that to be a distraction to your subject while you're taking the still photographs. And lastly, you always want to be mindful of the fact that you're rolling video so that you can hold the camera maybe a little more steady, not put it down like that, but instead like that, and those sorts of things. That will help you a lot in editing. Overall, using a setup like this is an easy way to capture moments that you would otherwise miss if you were just shooting still photos. And if edited and combined with music, it can be a great little add-on that you can provide to your clients. Or at the very least, something you can have to remember how your shoot went. So now let's take a look at the final edited video that was created using this simple setup right here.
Okay guys, I think we should make our way outside because I think you guys are gonna get stopped. So if y'all wanna follow me, we're gonna go this way. Got it. Oh, good girl! Yeah, Dory! Good girl!
As I said in the beginning of this video, this was a benefit for the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, specifically the Affleck Cancer and Blood Disorders Center, a hospital that helps and takes care of children who have cancer should not ever have to exist. But it does, and thank God for the work that they do. I will have a donation link down below in the description of this video if you'd like to check it out. In the meantime, I hope you found this video helpful in seeing the value of getting from B-roll into A-roll. I will be signing off now. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see all of you next week. Take care.